ready with me for a full day of content creation while I talk to you about how you lost weight and why you gained it all back. Also enjoy the sound of my littles with their nanny because I am a mom first and a content creator second, so I hope you enjoy their little voices. Those of you that don't know, my name is Rachel and I'm an online fitness coach and I specialize in disordered eating and nutrition. I also specialize in reverse dieting, which we are going to get into today because most people don't know what it is and it's one of the most important parts of dieting. The harsh reality is that the issue that lies with most people is not actually dieting. The issue is what to do once you've accomplished your goal and learning how to keep a positive relationship with food, a positive relationship with your body when your cardio is the highest and your calories are the lowest. Most of us understand the basics when it comes to dieting. You have to be in a caloric deficit, and the two easiest ways to ensure you're in a caloric deficit is by lowering your calories and increasing your energy expenditure, ideally through cardio because strength training is going to stay the same regardless of what your goal is. Now, it's extremely important to remember when we're dieting that our metabolisms are adaptive. That's why you hit something called a plateau, where your metabolism will then fight to be at homeostasis, as it always does, meaning that your body is always going to try to burn as many calories as you are intaking. So when you drop your calories, your metabolism is going to work really hard to drop with it. When it does and it matches and is at homeostasis, you did a little bit of metabolic damage, which is unavoidable when you're dieting. Then you plateau and you have to continue to drop calories and increase energy expenditure. Basically, what that means is at the tail end of a diet, your metabolism is going to be pretty damaged and your cardio is going to be pretty high. Calories are pretty low. And once you've hit your goal weight or your goal body composition, what are you supposed to do from there? Because it's not maintainable to have your calories that low and have your cardio that high. If you did things the correct way when you were dieting, it was a very slow transition, a very slow and steady decline. However, it's not sustainable to stay there. That is why the term reverse dieting is so important. That is what you are going to do after a proper dieting phase in order to increase your calories, but maintain your body composition and maintain the fat loss that you just achieved with your caloric deficit. Reverse dieting is exactly what it sounds like. It is the exact opposite of a dieting phase. You are slowly increasing calories and slowly decreasing cardio, with the goal being that those increases are so small that as you increase calories, your metabolism increases with it in very slow increments to avoid fat gain. One of the reasons that reverse dieting can be so challenging, especially mentally, is because you're technically no longer dieting. So if you've had a deprivation mindset for quite a while, it can be really difficult to stick to certain caloric numbers, a certain protein goals, certain cardio goals, when you don't feel like you're supposed to be dieting anymore. However, it is so important to have a proper reverse diet because your metabolism is damaged and you have to repair your metabolism in order to be able to eat a healthy amount of calories that's sustainable long term. Now, you don't have to give up the fat loss that you just achieved to do that, but you do have to do a proper reverse diet very slowly. All metabolisms are damaged when we diet. It's inevitable. There's ways to make that damage less prominent by incorporating resistance training and incorporating a protein goal, going very slowly, targeting fat loss instead of weight loss. However, you are going to have to do some metabolic repair after your diet, no matter who you are and no matter what you did. If you do not reverse diet properly after a diet, that is where you're going to see fat gain, because if you increase your calories when your metabolism is damaged, your metabolism is not going to be able to keep up with that caloric intake unless you go very slowly. So that's why I think it is so important to talk to clients about reverse dieting, because it is an inevitable phase that you're going to have to go through after experiencing a proper diet, which is super exciting. But you guys, the goal is to be able to eat what you want and have the physique that you want, and reverse dieting is the way to attain that. I understand that metabolic damage is very scary. It's a very scary concept, and you can minimize metabolic damage to the best of your ability when you're dieting. But you guys, it's inevitable. Our bodies are always going to fight to stay at homeostasis, like I mentioned, which means your metabolism is going to lower when you lower your calories. The way that I like to typically start off a reverse diet is by bumping my clients' calories by about 150 to 200 calories, depending on how low they were. And then from that point on, if they're maintaining their weight week to week, we will deduct about 10 minutes of cardio per week if they're on steady state cardio, and we will increase calories by 50 to 100 calories per week if their weight is maintained. This is giving their body enough time to keep up with the caloric jumps that we're making, and they're in such small increments that their metabolisms are able to keep up with those jumps, which increases food for the client, but it also minimizes fat gain, which is of course the ultimate goal after you've spent all of that time properly dieting. If you are reverse dieting and you notice that you gain weight one particular week, then I would recommend keeping your calories and cardio the same that week to give your metabolism just a little bit more time to keep up with the previous caloric raise. It's so important to remember when it comes to weight loss that if you do it right one time, then you never have to do it again. And that right way is going to involve a proper diet and a proper reverse diet so that you're actually able to get back to a healthy caloric intake. And nobody wants to be doing a lot of cardio every single day. That's just not sustainable. The one exception I will say is that strength training, I personally believe, for a multitude of scientific reasons, is a great form of exercise that you are going to want to maintain for the rest of your life, but that is really the only exception. I know that reverse dieting can seem extremely overwhelming, especially if you're not familiar with how to manipulate calories and protein. I do recommend that even for people who are experienced coaches, for example, have somebody else manipulate your numbers when you're reverse dieting, because it's extremely difficult mentally and you want to make sure that you're going at a slow enough pace. And I will say that it is debatable. Staying on track, meaning being adherent to the calories and protein that you've assigned yourself or that your coach has assigned you, is even more important in a reverse dieting phase than it is in a dieting phase, because if you gain weight in a reverse diet, you don't want to immediately go back into a dieting phase. Otherwise, that creates the cycle of yo-yo dieting, which can be extremely damaging to your metabolism. I also just want to reiterate, if you have struggled with yo-yo dieting for a really long period of time, I promise you're not alone. Reverse dieting is not talked about nearly enough, even though it's one of the most important parts of dieting. If you feel like you are someone who has suffered from metabolic damage or you've tried dieting a million times, I promise that all you need to see success is to just go through a proper diet and then a proper reverse diet following it. If you need help manipulating your numbers, I highly recommend hiring a coach. I have been an online coach for 8 years, so please feel free to reach out to me. I am currently accepting clients. Like I mentioned, I do specialize in nutrition, disordered eating, and reverse dieting, all of which certainly go hand in hand. You can reach out to me at my email, conquercoaching@gmail.com. I would absolutely love to help you conquer your mindset so you can conquer your life. Love you guys. Bye.